Let's look at this model of GDP, yearly versus aggregate expenditure, to look at what this model can explain about each of these four concepts, right? And which one is most useful to explain, right? So our options are long run economic growth, the business cycle, inflation, or cyclical unemployment. All right, so here I have drawn, so first of all, what is aggregate expenditure, right? That's how much was sold during the year, how much was purchased, right? Versus GDP, which was how much was produced. So this 45-degree line here is when everything that was produced in the year was sold, right? So there was no surplus or shortage. So if we look at this area over here on the left, where aggregate expenditure is more than GDP, that means that people bought more than what was produced, right? So in that case, if we bought more than what was produced this year, we had to buy from inventories that we had produced in years prior, right? So our inventories decreased because we were dipping into them to exceed our expenditure over our GDP this year. And on the flip side, on the right side, we have aggregate expenditure less than GDP, right? So we bought less than what was produced in this year. So we had some left over that was produced. So inventories increased for firms, right? So firms are going to react to these different cases when they're not at the point where GDP is equal to aggregate expenditure, right? So if, say, for example, on the right, when we had excess product, right, our inventories increased, that means in following years, we can decrease our production, right? So we're going to decrease GDP, right? Because our inventories increase. So we want to get to this point where we're selling everything that we're producing. So this may be a recession, right? We're retracting, we're not growing as much, right? So we're making less. This could be a recession. All right, so on the flip side, if we didn't make enough for what people wanted in this year, we're going to increase our production, right? Increase our GDP, and this could be an expansion, right? So this could be the flip side of this economic cycle, right? So this doesn't explain long-term growth, right? We're not really talking about investment or productivity, right? All we're talking about is demand from year to year and how firms react based on their inventories and things like that. And so that's why we're not really seeking to explain long run growth or inflation or anything like that. We're seeking to explain short run changes in the business cycle, right? So that's what this model can help us understand.